Hey, what's up everybody? This is John from DroidDog.com, and today I'm going to take a few moments to answer your questions and hopefully fulfill some of your requests regarding Motorola's Cliq for T-Mobile. I've received a lot of SMS questions about this phone, but by far the top one is which is better between the Cliq and the Behold 2. So clearly there are a lot of T-Mobile customers out there who are weighing their options. You know, that's a tough one to answer. A lot of it is personal taste, but I'll do my best to weigh the pros and cons of each phone and, maybe help you guys out in making a selection. I want to say thank you to our friends at Best Buy for hooking us up with this Cliq for review, and also to give away to one of you later on PhoneDog's One Pod Bandit. To play, go to PhoneDog.com and click on the tab that says Win Free Phones. Also check out Best Buy Mobile, because not only do they take care of the rebates, as I often say in these videos, but they also have their walkout working program. And during the holidays, that's a great way to get your relatives into a new phone. Maybe they're not quite as techy as you are. They know how to use the device, but they need some help setting it up. Every once in a while, they need some support. Well, not only does Best Buy take care of them when they purchase the phone, if they have something they need changed, a setting, they want to set up a new email and they can't do it, maybe you're not around to help them, you live in another state, they can go into Best Buy and somebody there will take care of it for them. So that's a great program. All right, let's get to it. I just went on Twitter requesting some last-minute questions and requests for this video, and I got a lot of responses from people who just recently read the news that the Motorola Cliq has now been rooted. And a lot of you wanted me to root mine on camera. Unfortunately, this is a loaner, and that process, as comfortable with it as you may be, whenever you're doing it differently on a different phone, even just, once you've gotten the hang of it and you're doing it on your G1 over and over again, doing different ROMs and things like that, it's risky. There's always a chance that you're going to destroy the phone that you're doing it on. And I do not do that with somebody else's device. This is a loaner. I guess I should say I'm a temporary custodian, because eventually we're going to be giving this away to you. But I wouldn't want to send you a bricked phone. So no, I will not be rooting the Cliq. Some of you wanted some more information on that. I did just do a post after I got those questions, but I'll just mention it again here. Right now there are no ROMs for the Cliq. It's just been rooted, meaning you have basically administrator access to the phone. So you can run applications that can be found in the market that require root. So you can, for example, take screenshots and do a few other things that the standard user wouldn't be able to use. Eventually there will be ROMs that you can flash, meaning there's a good chance that this phone will be updated by hackers before Motorola gets around to it. So I don't know how far it'll go. I don't know what it's capable of, but it would be interesting. The hack that I was just reading about was by a guy named The Dude, and he said he's working on a modified and improved version of Android 1.5, but he hopes to port Android 2.1 over to the Cliq eventually. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I don't know what kind of technical limitations there are, but that would be pretty great if somebody could do that. And something that I should mention related to the rooting, I mean, it doesn't have to be related, but it definitely made me think of this question. Somebody asked if this phone is cool enough to be interesting to the really techie, geeky people, or is it really just for the mainstream average messaging consumer? That's really hard for me to say. It's going to go in all kinds of different directions with root, I'm sure. I liked it. I had a good time with this phone. It definitely feels like with Motoblur, it's directed more at a very particular audience as opposed to the way other Android devices feel. And I guess I can address another question here. Somebody wanted me to compare this to all other Android devices. I'm not going to do each one individually, but I can just give you kind of a general idea about how I think this one stands out from the herd. First and foremost, it's Motoblur, which can be customized, but if you use it basically in the default setting, which I pretty much am, I've moved things around a little bit here, but I'm using basically the standard features that the phone comes with, and then drop in a few other widgets here and there. But yes, it's definitely great for the people who like to remain socially connected using networks like Twitter and Facebook. There's no doubt about that. News delivery, I thought it was kind of cool seeing the headlines like that. I guess it got me reading stuff that I probably wouldn't have otherwise. I wouldn't call it, like a hyper geeky phone. It's not. It's mainstream, and I could see this being used by you know, a 15-year-old who likes to talk to her best friend all the time. I could see it being used by a student in their early 20s. And, you know, I'm sure there are a good number of working adults who would enjoy it. But just the overall impression I get of the phone is more that it's directed at a younger audience. Just the feel of it to me. It's a fun phone. That doesn't mean, you know, you can't get it if you're a 35-year-old stockbroker or that you should be embarrassed to hold it. I don't look at it that way at all. I'm just saying I think that's who it's most appealing to. Now, in terms of social connectedness, when you go into your People app here, the contacts, it's insane. You know, it's a little bit overwhelming when you first get the phone. And you can customize all of this, of course. But by default, since I signed into Twitter and I told it to synchronize with Twitter, it's pulling down every single person I follow, which is, you know, kind of overkill. I guess, you know, some people maybe they only follow a small group of friends, you know, just to stay in touch. For people who use it for work and news and things like that and end up with larger groups of people that they're following, it might be a little bit much in there. But in terms of its appeal to the geeky, this very same kind of connectivity could be a great thing for somebody who really wants to stay up to date on, let's say, everything that's happening in the world of Android hacking. I don't know how technical you were talking when you asked me about technical people. You know, if you're following pretty much everybody that tweets about that stuff on Twitter, you can have it popping up on your screen, you know, consistently all day. And so if you're the type of geek who likes to be hyper connected, then yes, this phone is satisfying. If you mean, will it be interesting to people who are geeky in the sense that they can hack and tweak on it, you know, a few days ago I would have said no, but now that world is just opening up for the Cliq. So who knows, the sky is the limit on what this phone might be able to do in the next month. Next question, somebody wanted to know a few specs, including RAM, ROM, the processor, the screen. In a lot of respects, this phone is much like the first Androids we saw, the G1, the Magic. This is a 320 by 480 screen. The camera is 5 megapixels. The ROM is 512 megabytes. There are 256 of RAM. And the processor is a 528 megahertz Qualcomm. So, you know, most of that, excluding the camera, is the same as all of the first generation of Androids. I think I covered all the specs that person asked about. Just real quick, this isn't a review or anything, but I'll do a quick walk around the outside here. You've got a 3.5mm audio jack. You got the volume buttons right there. And next to it you have a silent mode switch, not a button, but a switch. And that's pretty nice to have. Like most phones, that does not silence media. And I suppose it's because a lot of people want to turn off their phone and be able to listen to the Walkman or something like that, but I just wish there was like a universal silencer on this. That would be really handy because usually it's if I'm in bed at night and you know my wife is sleeping or I'm in a movie theater, I just want to shut the phone up. So, you know, I'm not sure why the silencer switch would still allow media to run. So there I have a YouTube video playing. Putting it on silence does nothing. So, you know, I guess there's probably a good reason for doing that, but to me there's just too much of a likelihood that something's going to accidentally come on when I don't want it to. But let's finish this little walk around up real quick. You got the micro USB port for data and charging, your power button, dedicated camera button, battery cover on the back, just to pop in and out. Got the little pull tab to get the battery out of the place, SD card, SIM. And there's the 5 megapixel cam with autofocus, and I believe 4 times digital zoom. And you've got your menu button, home button, and back button.